Hello everyone from a random riverbank in Chengdu. Everyone knows that Chengdu is famous for its pandas and its spicy food, but there's one other big part of life here, which is rivers. They're everywhere. You can barely go anywhere in this city without running into a river. The riverbanks are filled with gardens, exercise equipment, mahjong parlors, people fishing, birds, and even old ladies dancing. The rivers are a great addition to the city and they're really well managed, but that's not how it always was. Just a few decades ago, before there were all these gardens and paths and retaining walls, this river was on level ground with the rest of the city. So anytime the river level rose, it would go into the city grounds and pick up all this trash and dirt and sweep it back into the river. And there was a lot of open dumping of sewage and other pollutants, so the river was not a very clean place just a few decades ago. Today, we're going to be joining Chengdu Urban Rivers Association, and we're going to learn what efforts are underway to make sure the next generation keeps taking care of these amazing rivers. I joined in on one of the Chengdu Urban River Association's river camps, where kids and parents explore the riverbank together and learn about the river's history and ecology. And the very first stop of the day was this model of what Chengdu used to look like before large-scale urbanization and before the parks, paths, and flood prevention walls were added to its rivers. Looking at the Chengdu of today, it is hard to believe that it used to look like this just a few decades ago.
画得很棒，
还画一点点，
细节特别多
啊！完了，下面有没有画？
Chengdu may be urbanizing at a crazy fast rate, but it's still hanging on to some of its history. All around the city, you can find old buildings that are a reminder of what Chengdu used to look like.
以前有一块一块拿下来，这么麻烦。
它要编号，所以说最后关店的时候，它就一块一块又顺着这个编号放上去。
All along the riverbank were people trying to catch fish in the river, but that's harder than it looks in a city of 20 million people. Some of the fishermen were not so lucky today.
英语，我这个小鱼干，
哎呀，这是什么？
鱼哦，
有两个小宝宝在里面。
它可能是咬那个河水的时候咬的。
These fishermen go hard. They don't just buy bait from the store, they make it themselves. Maybe the fish can sense which food was lovingly made by hand and which food came from a factory.
这是用什么做的呀？
玉米还有麦麸啊。
Something really interesting about Chengdu's rivers is what inspired the change from being the gutter of the city to being one of the most popular places to walk around and relax. Unbelievably enough, this change was partially inspired by the local kids.
1985年，在成都的这个《成都晚报》上面啊，登了一封小学生写给成都市长的公开信。他说我们学校门口有一条河，叫府南河。 但是这个府南河呢，现在太臭了，河里面又有垃圾，又有脏水。他就说市长啊，你们能不能什么时候能够还我们这个江里面的水、河里面的水是清清的呢？这个小学生写的公开信以后啊，写了公开信以后，92年成都就搞了一个最大的工程。 叫府南河综合整治工程，然后他们这个写完信以后，府南河工程完了以后，他们成立了一个富水小卫士啊，然后就一年级的往下延续，现在他们这个队伍还有。
Hello，
我没有。
好了，今天
喜欢老师的故事吗？
喜欢。然后我们下，哎呀，我的老骨头。
哎呀，我的手，你的筋骨头啊！
The kids were given the task of using water quality data to determine what class this river is in. And that's the kind of information you could probably just find online. But that's the whole point of experiential learning. It's not just about the result. It's about what you did to achieve that result and all the things you experienced along the way. Step 1 is collecting the water samples. The kids were so excited for this part. It's so cute how excited they get about literally everything. Why does it have to go away in adults? Why can't we be so curious and excited for life?
来，谁拿呢？
我来。哎，水一直在漏，边走边浇花。
怎么了？不能拿桶不开心了？哎呀，
桶被人家抢了，
太残忍了。
好了，你赶紧过去抢一下嘛。
等一下，他这个
反应？
绿色。动作花会改。
然后去干嘛？
匹配。去这个颜色，这个颜色。
去对比，对不对？
七。
然后干嘛？
摇一摇，
两头捏住。好，然后就让它静置。
最黄的。我觉得应该是这个。我觉得应该是
好了，
最黄的。
来，我们安蛋要等5分钟。
黄色的。
Step by step, the kids did a bunch of little experiments to test exactly what class the river's water quality is in. Instead of memorizing this information from a book, they're doing it on site with their own hands.
我们 COD 是多少？20，对不对？那它是对应的几类？3类，
所以是3类的水。
3类，对不对？好，然后我们看氨氮0.25，好，那是几类？1类。最后水质情况的判断，它是几类水
？3类。
良好。水质良好什么意思？它的水能够。
The kids are all writing down different types of bamboo that they find in the park, and this kid is dedicated. This kid is such a little camera hog. He's adorable.
今天活动上你最大的收获是什么？
吃了午饭。
你吃了午饭。
我们前面有2个孩子，有30岁的，有20岁的，但是现在，对这个孩子，我们可能他学什么东西，我们更注重他这个学习的过程，他有没有享受这个过程，而可能跟以前的还是有区别了。以前哥哥姐姐那一代，我们还是想，哎呀，好好学习，考个好学校，考个好大学，好的大学就那么几所，大家都想去上怎么办？那就只有塞，塞到最后能上的就能上。
那你会不会担心他们用这样的一个教育方式会不会影响他们上大学？你会有这样的心理压力吗？
有，但是我会平衡，就是一个是经济到那个程度了，第二个就会觉得孩子他这个过程，他这个成长的过程，我觉得特别重要。我相信就是经常参加这样子活动的孩子其实更自律，因为他们学一般是主动学习，他不是被动学习。
In this world that is so full of pollution and environmental destruction, one of the best ways to get the young generation to care about protecting the planet and preserving resources is to get them to experience it themselves firsthand. One part of that, of course, is maybe going deep into the mountains to some places where humans never touched and seeing, the original natural state of the world. But another really important thing is just being able to appreciate the ecosystem that is around our homes, the combination of humans and nature. Because at least for Chengdu, I can say that without all these trees and parks, birds, bats, rivers, life here just wouldn't be that nice, Like, no matter how built up the city is, how great the infrastructure is, if it's just a concrete jungle, it just feels like something's missing. And it's so important to have all of these natural elements interspersed in the city. And I'm really glad that these kids are having a chance to get out and explore and see why it's important to protect these resources and why it's important to keep the river healthy and clean. So thank you, Chengdu Urban Rivers Association, for letting me join the river camp, and let's get more kids outside.